Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of South Park, The Scoots. And I think this was a pretty good, typical South Park episode. There were two kind of stories going on at once, but it was just mainly centered around the fact of like these e-scooters and it intersecting with Halloween. A cool kind of thing that they did was that we knew that somebody was narrating the episode talking about Halloween and how this one was kind of different from the last couple ones and was kind of a turning point. But we would divvy up the time between seeing the boys talking about their strategy for Halloween and Mr. Mackey having to deal with these frickin' e-scooters. And I think that they did a very good job with the e-scooters. I could have seen that this could have been one of the jokes that, if not implemented properly, would have been another dead horse, one that wore out his welcome. But they did a very good job of escalating the danger of these e-scooters to what was going on. So Mr. Mackey starts seeing all these e-scooters coming around. He's like, where the hell they all come from? And everybody's freaking using it. And he's like, why don't you just use a car? And everybody's being an asshole with these scooters. It gets to a point that he's trying to drive around and people just keep hitting into his car and he's like freaking running him over and they're like, oh, sorry, sorry. It's like, what the hell? Just giving everybody a license to be an asshole. And the kids start getting into him and they find him and like, oh, if we use this app thing, we can use these and we can use these for Halloween to get more houses and get more candy. It's like, all right. The greatest part of that was kind of the beginning. We're like, oh, we got to put in a credit card, and Cartman's able to list off like a lot of his mother's credit cards. He's like, oh, do you need a Visa or whatnot? Because at first he was giving them the American Express. He's like, oh yeah, here's the Visa one. Gives all the information and doesn't miss a beat. So they're trying to hide the fact that they're going to use the e-scooters, but Kenny doesn't have a phone, so he can't really join in. And they actually call him in and say that they can't trick or treat with he can't trick or treat with them because they just slow him down to the kids that wouldn't be using them. Well, they get to school and it starts spiraling out of control because Kenny had went to pretty much another house to trick or treat with another group of kids, and they of course had the same idea. He then tried to do it with the girls, and everybody starts fighting, and it's like, oh god, there's going to be a bloodbath. Mr. Mackey gets intersected into this because he's trying to make sure he has enough candy because he doesn't want his house to be egged again. And it's like the intersection of the e-scooter outrage that he's got mixed with I don't want my house to be egged again. And we see all of them getting out together. He tries to get rid of all the e-scooters at one time, and you kind of get it. You get a very reminiscent vibe of kind of like how the Grinch stole Christmas during this, which I kind of like, except doing it with Halloween. He gathers them all up kind of the night before, kind of similar to the Grinch stealing the presents, and tries to just dump them all off this cliff. He's like, yeah, I did it. But he wakes up the next morning, and their scooters are in his house. And then a scooter bro pretty much bangs into his house and goes, oh, yeah, sorry, and goes away. It's like, oh, God. Of course, because of the kids trick-or-treating and trying to figure it out, the police are they do this town meeting to be like, oh, we gotta figure out what's going on. And even people from other counties and other neighboring places are going to be trying to come as well. And they're like, listen, we don't know how to stop this. We could try to get rid of the scooters. And Mr. Hank's like, I tried that already. It just fucking came back. And they're like, all right, what do we do then? I guess just we'd recommend that you have like $6,000 worth of candy. And then everybody frickin' just bolts out the door trying to get as much candy as they can. Because Mr. Mackey had gotten to this candy shop and he got this like regular order. He gets there, everything's tapped out. He's like, I gotta look after my own man. Pulls a shotgun on him and get the hell out. Mr. Mackey's trying his damnedest to figure out the candy situation. He's even in his office. He's got a gun and he's got all this candy. He's trying to, what's going on? What's going on? Kenny, of course, comes in because, he's like, you need some counseling, and he's sad because he's not really going to be able to trick or treat anymore. And he relays the information that the kids need to use cell phones with these things. Cell phones. And they start coming up with a plan together to take out a cell phone tower. Like, oh, shit, yeah, okay. And then they'll just have to walk around. Of course, they're not able to enact it before Halloween and trick or treat begins. So we see all this crazy crap going on. with everybody just nuts. Cartman and his gang are able to get a lot. We see Butters lying essentially in a gutter, covered in candy, eating it. They get to a point where they got so much candy, they're trying to like gorge themselves on it so that way they can have enough room to get more candy. Stan starts throwing it up. Butters' parents try to go out to Randy's house to see if they can either weather out the Halloween there or get some candy from him. I got my own to look after. They're going to reach out here too, city folk. We also got some pretty cool callouts too, like the Mr. Hanky canceled billboard, some other stuff going on. But Mr. Mackey and Kenny finally get to the cell phone tower, talking along the way in the car about like how everybody usually gets hooked on new technology and everything. Everybody dumps shit everywhere and they're just acting like assholes essentially. And they get to the cell phone tower and we see this dude dressed up like Jason and he's like, I don't have any candy. I'm out, man. They even got out this far. And that was a pretty good joke that I liked. The whole, oh, do you need some counseling, Jason, and everything? And all the kind of stuff that was going on. But Kenny goes up to the tower, wraps a chain around it. Mr. Mackey uses a car saying, hey, try and use your scooter to do this. They rip down the cell phone tower. Everybody's cell phones go out, and they can't use their scooters. It was funny, because the one dude brought up the problem, oh, damn, I can't even get an Uber to get home. Yeah. Cell phones do a lot more nowadays than they used to. So Kenny's able to dress up as his ninja and he goes around and he's just happy. Everybody else is kind of dejected, but he's out trick-or-treating with his friends and we find out he's the one that's been narrating. And that was kind of like the last normal Halloween. And I kind of dug the vibe that we had, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas / kind of like a Christmas Story, Ralphie kind of put in with the whole narrating and everything, and the typical kind of Halloween gag of the e-scooters being this kind of unnatural, supernatural force that we see at the end popping up and doing their own thing. It was just very well done, and granted, it wasn't like the funniest that I'd seen, but it was a really good South Park episode, and I really enjoyed it. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.